Good evening and welcome to Taxpayers Talk Back. I'm your host tonight, Bob Carlin, and with me is John Amaral and Steve Santos. Welcome.
Thank you, Bob.
Steve is a current member of the East Providence School Committee, and John is a past member of the East Providence School Committee. Welcome, gentlemen. And I guess tonight's topic would be the school committee. In the upcoming election of the school committee, both you gentlemen are running for school committee. John Amaral is running at large, and Steve Santos in Ward 4. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, Steve.
Well, as you know, it's been an interesting couple of years. There's been a lot that's happened the last couple of years in East Providence. You know, all the controversy, if you will, surrounding the teacher's contract, and the fact that we did finally manage to get a contract signed and delivered back in May that essentially gave the city, the school department, the relief that it needed in terms of...
Pretty much what you had proposed 2
well,
years
basically
earlier.
it was. It's just about exactly what was in the proposal that was on the table, that was implemented after all of the legal steps that were taken, you know, necessary to be taken, and it was implemented, which the courts have said we did have the right to do, and that contract was approved by the membership, the local NEA membership. It was an overwhelming vote. I believe it was like 79.9% of the membership supported that agreement. So I think we're fairly confident that, yeah, we delivered a good contract that's, you know, fair to the taxpayers who are being asked to pay the bill, and the membership. If 79.9% of the membership agrees with that contract, I think that's a pretty substantial margin.
Mm-hmm. And John, what did you think of the contract?
Well, for those of you who remember me when I was on the school committee from 98 to 2002, when I left at the very last meeting, we voted on the contract at that time, and I was the only member who voted nay. And the reason was I thought that it was about time that all the teachers and all the employees that work for the school department should start paying a share of the health cost. Unfortunately, I didn't have the votes, and I said back then that, you know, this was going to come back to bite us on the behind. And in 2002 was, you know, the economy was a lot better than it is today. But even back then, I knew we couldn't afford it. So here we are today, and the current school committee was forced to cut back on salaries and implement a 20% copay. And I mean, I saw this coming. And I don't think I was smarter than the other members. I think I was just more honest, because they knew they had the same information I had. They was just, they basically gave in to pressure from the unions. So here we are in this mess, and I'm running again because I think that, you know, during these difficult times we need people that can make these tough decisions. And this is not just talk. I have a track record. I've done it before, and I can do it again.
Now, when you were on the school committee, John, weren't a lot of the other members members of public unions?
Yes, back then we had, as you know, as a 5-member board, and 3 out of the 5 were former school department employees, and 2 out of those 3 were actually former presidents of their respective unions. Presidents of their respective unions. So it's no surprise that when it comes time to vote for contracts, that the way they vote. I used to say back then, jokingly, but unfortunately it's true, that we had the union negotiating with the union.
Right.
And that's why we're in the mess we're in.
Exactly. And folks, that's what the union wants to go back to. With the slate of opposition against the school committee, as stated here, I have in front of me a flyer that is actually from the East Providence Education Association, the teachers union, and a team you can trust for school committee: Luisa Baticola, Charles Chonas, Stephen Furtado, Ryan Tellia, and Christine Rossi. I think with the exception of Luisa, they're all affiliated somehow with the unions, aren't they?
I believe so in one way, shape, or form. I think if you take a look at the campaign filings of those candidates, I think you'll get a good idea of where the support is coming from. You see donations from the local union PACs. You see donations from AFL-CIO PACs. Some of them you see donations from out-of-state labor PACs. So I think it's quite clear what's going on here. It's a concerted effort on the part of the local union to take total control of the school committee back from...
Exactly. And folks, if you think that the people on this list are going to look out for the best efforts, for the best interest of the taxpayers of East Providence, if you notice on the bottom of this flyer, it also says, vote no on question 7. Well, question 7 happens to be making the East Providence 3.5% tax cap part of the city charter, so that you can't go beyond that without really good reason. And it's interesting that they would ask you to vote for all these people and also vote not to approve the tax cap. To me, that just spells that they're going to raise your taxes through the roof.
Well, if you allow me, Bob, at a recent meeting, I think Jeanette Woolley, the rep from the state union, basically told Mr. Kacheri, don't ever tell me that you don't have money to give us raises. All you have to do is raise taxes. This is the way they think. It's not like a company, we don't have money, we can't raise the prices because we'll go out of business, so we have to make cuts. They don't think that way. They think, there's always money. It's easy. Raise taxes. We don't care if they have to pay more. We want our share. That's their attitude.
And they're out of touch because they don't believe that raising somebody's taxes, $300, $400, $600 a year makes that much of an impact. But if you're an elderly person on a fixed income, that is devastating. Or a young mother trying to decide whether she wants to buy food or heat her apartment. So for those who think that a small tax increase isn't going to hurt anybody, it really does. And that's why these guys have fought to keep the tax rates low. They fought for quality education for the children. And all the rhetoric that you're hearing out there is coming from the unions because they don't want to pay their 20% copay, which I would love to only pay 20% copay. Where I work, there's a 50% copay on health insurance. So,
and besides that, they started paying 20% when, a couple of years ago?
Exactly.
You and I have been paying for 20 years.
I can't remember how far back it was that I was paying 20%. Yeah.
And I think that's been the contention for right along, is that it's been a situation of a severe inequity. You're looking at people who every year most medical plans, you're looking at double-digit increases. Anything less
Absolutely.
than a double-digit increase is considered a win. Most of the time you're looking at 10, 12, 15% increases in health care on an annual basis.
Sure.
And when you're not contributing any type of a co-share towards that, that's like that's a 15% or 12% increase basically in your salary, because you're not paying it.
Exactly.
The people who are supporting the school system with their property taxes are the ones who are paying it. So you're not only getting whatever increases you're getting as a result of the contract or the step rates in the contract, you're also getting, if your health insurance plan goes up from $12,000 a year to $14,500 in one step, not only are the taxpayers absorbing your salary increase, they're absorbing the increase in that health care.
Absolutely.
At the same time, their own is going up.
And now there's been some talk about where our East Providence teachers fall as far as pay with the rest of the state. And there have been accusations made by the unions that they're the lowest paid teachers